Now, sometimes if you're somebody like me, sometimes it helps me to see the breakdown. And rather than just say, go watch that other course and you're going to be fine. Sometimes it helps to see how things are broken out. And so what I've done is I've taken the main topics of, if you're going after the CEH exam, the main topics in the cryptography section for the CEH, and I gave you directions on where you would find that particular information specifically. And this can be helpful if, you're studying at some point, or, what was that thing? And you want to see where directly to go. So think of this as kind of a mapping between the CEH and the information that I've recorded for SSCP. The first one is the cryptography concepts. And I have to say, this is one of the most important sections on starting to understand why cryptography is important and what some of the main components of it are. And you're going to find that in the SSCP cryptography course in Module 2. Some of the other things that you're going to find very, very important, and they can be confusing, are some of the basics of encryption algorithms, which I also cover in Module 2 of that SSCP cryptography course. Now, like all of the tools that you're going to see in this list, what I've done is I've talked about the tools in the third module in this course. That's under additional documentation. And after you've seen the cryptography course of SSCP, you'll come back here and I'll go through that documentation with you on some tools that you can work with to better further your education. Now, as you're working with cryptography in real life, one of the most important things is your public key infrastructure, or PKI. This is, it could be literally publicly cited, something that you might work with, like from Symantec, used to be VeriSign, that kind of stuff, where you're getting certificates that you're going to use for the outside, or you may internally, most companies internally will have their own PKI infrastructure. It helps to understand how this works. And after you've learned the cryptography concepts and encryption algorithms, it'll make a lot more sense. So this is in SSCP's cryptography course, Module 5. Now, I also spent a little bit of time talking about email encryption, which is in the Module 4 course of the SSCP. And there's going to be times when you're going to want to encrypt things like files and disks and entire volumes. So I've got a bunch of tools for you in the additional documentation on disk encryption. Now, this is the one caveat to the SSCP crypto course that I mentioned, is when we talk about cryptography attacks, I actually did that in a different SSCP course, and that's the application security course. And that'll all be covered in Module 2. And you'll learn about the different types of things that can attack, both scripting attacks and human-based attacks, and some of the things that we can do to prevent those. And then we have some cryptanalysis tools that can be fun in both learning more about how cryptography works and even how to crack some of the old cryptography, so you can see both sides of the process of both protecting and attacking. And that I will also go through with you when we get to the additional documentation section. So this is kind of like a much more detailed breakdown list for you if you prefer this kind of list for your learning path.